Okay, so we have that recorder going. We are ready to rock and roll here. So once again, we'd like to welcome all of you to session number 2 of the 2015 Mortgage Marketing and Business Plan series. So again, this is a 3-part session. There's just so much to cover, and it's such an important topic, I didn't want to rush and cram it all into a single session. Okay, so this has been spread out over 3 sessions. Session number 1 is viewable on our blog. And also, just wanted to invite all of you, what you're seeing on the screen here, this is the our free Facebook marketing discussion group. So we have just over 2,000 members, loan officers participating in this discussion group. So I strongly recommend, we had that link showing up on the screen just a moment ago, but we recommend that you engage, chat with, and hopefully form some great relationships with other loan officers around the country and get some great discussions going. So definitely helpful to stimulate those creative juices. Okay, so that's our discussion group. And next, if you did not download the litmus test, now we emailed out the link to the litmus test document a couple of times last week, so I hope you guys got it. If not, it is indeed available on our blog. So if you go to loanofficermarketinglab.com/blog, you'll see the very first blog post there has the downloadable litmus test. And then finally, before we get rolling here, if you guys can do me a great big favor here and let me know in that chat box in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, let me know if that audio is coming through loud and clear. So it's our little ritual here just to make sure that not talking to myself, so give me a yay or a nay. Okay. Getting some good yays. Got some yays, good. Got a Yahtzee there from Bruce. Thanks. Thank you, Bruce. Okay, got a boom from Steve again. Okay. All right. Okay, so looks like we're good. Got about 50, 60 yays there, and I got one not quite so good, but I'm at maximum volume here, so if for whatever reason you're not able to hear me, guys, I'd recommend just turning your volume up a little bit because I just hit my maximum bar here on volume. All right? Okay, good deal. Now, let's just do a quick recap and just a reminder, folks, just another quick reminder that these are interactive. So ask all the questions that you desire. The more questions you ask, the better. And you guys know the boom rule. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. That's if you guys like what you hear, you like where we're headed, just give me a big boom in the chat box there that lets me know when I start seeing a bunch of boom, 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 booms that, hey, you know what, we're hitting on a really hot topic here. Okay? So that's the boom rule. Okay, so recap from last week. What did we do last week? Well, first thing that we did was we took a look at what's going on in the world of mortgage originations and setting a New Year's resolution and meeting those goals, and we looked at that good old official statistic that 92% of all goals are forgotten by the first week of February. 92%. That can be depressing, and we talked about why that happens. Sometimes it's just that people set unrealistic goals for themselves. What happens if you come out of the gate with 20 different things that you're saying, hey, I'm going to commit to this? What's the likelihood you're going to commit to even half of those? So we have to be realistic with our goals, but then we also have to be specific with our plan, our goals, what we're going to accomplish this year, because if we're too vague, it's just not going to get us there, okay? We need to set specific rewards for ourselves because we're humans, folks. We're creatures, right? We do things when it benefits us, when we feel that, hey, if something's difficult, there better be some gold at the end of that rainbow, right? Better be worth that effort if we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of changing habits and employing new habits and day-to-day strategies and learning new stuff, if you will. So that's when we opened up the litmus test, and that's the document I mentioned just a few minutes ago. If you guys haven't downloaded it yet, it's a kick-butt document that's going to allow you to self-analyze and start viewing some of what you do or what you don't do in a different light. It's fantastic. I've been using it for over a decade, and I know a lot of people that use it now religiously every single year because it really does force you to be honest with yourself and look at yourself under that figurative microscope, if you will. Next, we took a look at a sample flowchart of what a proper marketing plan looks like, and then we opened up some example campaigns, and that's when I was talking to you guys about the heat maps and the realtor publication, the opt-in form generator, and all those other things that we took a look at using as bait in my sample program of getting more business from realtors. Now, it doesn't mean that all of you guys need to target getting more business from realtors as well. I was just showing you what one of my sample programs looked like way back when I first moved away from being a refi junkie into actually looking at building my own business seriously. Okay, and that was the same plan that allowed me to open up my own shop, hire my own loan officers, and experience explosive growth and become one of the top originators around. So that's what we looked at last week. This week, we're going to pick up where we left off, and we're actually going to go through the step-by-step and create a plan together. I'm going to show you guys some sample documents, a sample plan, and then we're going to go through and let's start creating the actual to-do list, if you will. So I want to start off by looking at the process. Okay, what does the process look like from a bird's eye point of view? And that means we're going to kind of start off with a high-level view, and then we're going to get more specific and detailed. And one of the very first things that we're going to look at today is I want you guys to do the opposite of what most folks do, and that's be vague. I want you to get very, very specific with yourself as to what your ideal outcome is, and that cannot be, under any circumstances, hey, I want to close more loans, or I want to make more money. This needs to be extremely specific of where do you see yourself 6 months from now, a year from now? Where do you want to end up this year? How many originations do you want to have completed? How many closings? How many of those are going to be purchased? How many are going to be refi? You know, what's your average ROI on each of those closings? And then what's your take home? By the end of the year, what do you want to have taken home in income? Get very, very specific with what that ideal outcome is. And it doesn't just have to be income-oriented. Maybe you're already pulling down a fantastic income. Maybe you're already pulling down $500,000 a year, but you're spending 80, 90 hours a week in the office, and it's just starting to get under your skin a bit. Maybe you just want to become more efficient. So whatever that goal is, it needs to be very, very specific. Next, we have to define, before we can really, really start taking ourselves seriously, we have to define what is a failure and what is a success with our marketing plan. Because even though that sounds like a stupid question maybe, it's actually a very serious and honest question, because just because you don't, let's say maybe you targeted, hey, you know what, I want to do $500,000 a year in income this year, but let's say you end up at 475, 480. In the previous year, you'd only been at 350. Now, are you really going to walk away going, man, I'm such a failure. I can't believe this. Man, I suck. No. We have to identify and define what is the difference between a failure and a success. Maybe we're not going to hit all of our goals bullseye, but what if we're very, very, very close? Is that necessarily a failure? So we have to define what is the difference there, so that way we can respond accordingly. A detailed mission for each campaign. We're going to be setting up campaigns today, okay? We're going to be setting up specific strategies and campaigns, and each campaign has to be very detailed, just like our ideal outcome has to be detailed. And what I mean by that is we can't just say, well, you know what, I'm going to use YouTube, and I'm going to use that as an SEO tool to get more realtors. Far too vague. Far too vague, my friends. It has to be detailed. What is the mission of the strategy? What is the ideal outcome of that strategy? Meaning, is it actually going to result in a closed loan, or is it going to introduce you to a good referral partner, or is it going to get you in the front door, and then you're going to deploy a separate campaign to convert that front door opening into actual referrals from the agent? You know, we need to get that specific with our marketing plan. And then we need to create and draft behavior-based responses to the implementation of our strategies, meaning some are going to be yeses, some are going to be nos. Regardless of whether they're yeses or nos, we still have to specifically detail how am I going to respond when it's a yes and how am I going to respond when it's a no. Because a no isn't always a no. It could just be, hey, it's the wrong time. Maybe you need to drop them into a follow-up campaign, a drip feed campaign. There needs to be something set up to build and nurture a database of no's, because even a lot of those no's are going to turn into yeses if you drip feed. So we're going to get very specific with a detailed plan and analyze the results of each campaign. Okay? So now's my time to ask you guys a question about the litmus test. What did that litmus test reveal? Let me go ahead and open up the litmus test here if you guys give me just a moment. Let's pop that good old litmus test up on the screen if I can here. I might have to, there we go. Okay, so here it is, the litmus test. Where are you now? So this is the document that I asked you guys to fill out last week. So what percentage of your marketing is currently automated or outsourced? If the answer is none, please explain why that is. What percent are resulting in referrals of your closings, blah, blah, blah. Is it less than 25%? So these are some really tough questions that force you to really get honest with yourself. And when you get honest with yourself, guys, it allows you to do this. This is the second stage of the litmus test. So don't stop at just filling out the questions up here at the top. I want you to go down here and then answer the really tough questions where you have to answer, hey, how much effort on a scale of 1 to 10? How much effort did I actually give to each one of these yes or no questions when I was implementing it throughout the year on a scale of 1 to 10, because it can't be 10 all across the board. Okay, that would be extremely depressing if we gave it our best effort on every single thing and we failed on every single one of them. Okay, your commitment level, your detailed reward of reaching those goals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want you guys, if you have not filled it out yet, please go to the blog and fill this out. But bottom line is when we're looking at this, guys, this litmus test, the general idea is it's going to help us see where we need to spend time on our business plan, because this is what we discussed last week. I'm just pulling up one of the slides from last week where we talked about the primary areas that we're going to be looking at in building our business plan. That's referral sources, our web presence, automation, leverage, et cetera, outsourcing, all that fun stuff. Okay, so kind of having set the stage there now as to where you should be up to this point, let's get started with the good stuff. Now we're going to start from the very beginning. Okay, we're going to start from the very beginning, and that means that we're going to set our target income. Okay, so unless we know what our destination is, how can we pull up a map to get there? And when I say target income, guys, here's what I want you to do. Not just say, hey, I want to earn $500,000 this year. What I want you to do is instead say, well, okay, I want to earn $500,000 this year, but here's how many loans based on my current average take-home per closing. So if you take all of the closings that you did in 2014 and averaged it out, what did that come out to? Don't just brainstorm it as in say, well, just off the top of my head, it was around 3,900 or it was around 4,500 or whatever the case may be. That doesn't cut it. You have to get specific. Using guesswork results in just literally starting off on the wrong foot with the very first step. Needs to be accurate. Exactly how many loans is it going to take you to hit that $500,000 goal or $100,000 goal, $200,000, whatever your goal is for this year? How many loans will it take you to get there starting from today? And then next, what is that reward? Now, when I say what is that reward, again, I mean getting very, very specific. For me, back when I first became a loan officer, my reward was, hey, you know what? I was a car nut. I was a gearhead. I really, really wanted a Viper. I didn't want it just any Viper. I wanted a drag-prepped Viper. So you know what I did? I printed out that picture, and I stuck it right next to my monitor where I was forced to look at it every single day. So whenever I started rolling my eyes, feeling like, God, why am I even putting myself through this? You know, being a loan officer sucks. You know, today was really crappy. It immediately forced me back into the reality of, well, why am I doing it, though? Why am I enduring this? I'm not enduring this just for the sake of enduring it. This is what I really, really want. I'm nutty over cars. I love cars, fast cars. That was my driving force. And you know what? The beautiful thing is it only took 3 months to get there. Once I was focused. Prior to that laser-like focus, it seemed like a distant off, you know, maybe in the 1 to 2, 3 year future. But it's amazing what focused effort can help you to accomplish. Okay? And then ranking your level of commitment on a scale of 1 to 10. What are the potential roadblocks that could stop you from reaching that commitment, reaching that goal? Is it, hey, I'm not properly prepared with the right tools? Do I lack certain know-how? Do I lack the number of hours in the day, and thus I need to outsource or automate? You know, what are the realistic things that can stop you from reaching those goals? Okay, let's pull out a sample document here. Let me show you, and I'm going to give this to you guys as a download after today's call. Let's go ahead and pull this thing up, and let me. That might be a little small for you guys, so let me try to zoom in here a bit. Okay, so this is the actual document. I don't believe in using. Now, again, maybe this is just personal preference. I don't mean to insert my personal preference here, but this is when most people think business plan. This is the type of document that they're looking at. Okay, now this thing is just massive, 17 pages. It goes through things of your vision, your value statements, external environmental analysis, and all this stuff, even the prevailing politics at the time, and just all this stuff that, to me, a lot of it, maybe if you're a organization, maybe this makes sense, but for an individual loan officer, this is just overkill, in my opinion. And I think this is why so few loan officers actually even screw around with a business plan or marketing plan, is because you look at this and you're like, holy crap. First of all, 95% of this stuff's completely irrelevant to what I'm doing. And again, if you're an organization and if you have a big operation, okay, I take that back. It makes sense. But for an individual loan officer, a lot of that's just going to be counterproductive and end up wasting a lot of time. When we could just come in here and say, okay, let's break down our marketing into various legs. You know, a table has 4 legs, right? So what are the 4 legs of your marketing going to be this year? So the first thing that we have to do is describe what that opportunity is. Now, last week I was talking about marketing to realtors, right? So that's where I would begin with this one here as well. So I'm going to describe what my opportunity is. Now, the opportunity is that personally, I have a basic or working relationship with 15 mid to top producer agents. The opportunity Okay, so you see what I'm doing here? So what I would do is I would fill this out. Now, this could end up being many, many paragraphs long, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs long, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into, I start off kind of vague and then get into increasing detail of explaining what that opportunity is. So I have a basic or working relationship with 15 mid to top producer real estate agents locally. The opportunity is to move those relationships forward to the point of becoming their primary loan officer. I will use YouTube videos as my means of doing this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the process itself, because the opportunity has to be very specific. So I'm going to break that down into what my door opener is. How will I get their attention? Okay, I'm going to use the real estate magazine that I showed you guys last week. Publication will be used to get their attention. I will offer to interview them and spotlight them in the next issue. When I get a yes, I will arrange a 15-minute 20-minute time, in person preferably, or if they're really that busy, or over the phone. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flesh it out, guys, step by step. Here's what I'm going to do. There's my door opener. Okay, once I have my door opener, what's my tie-in or wow moment? because now I need to impress the heck out of that agent. Once I've gotten them to open their door, because I kid you not, guys, when you whip out this publication, 90 to 95% of the agents are going to say yes. Now here, just as a reminder, this was the publication. So this was the magazine, an entire magazine on real estate. And once I have that, okay, once I have that, it makes me look good. Right? Because now I'm letting them know, hey, you know what? I published this great publication that goes out to potential home buyers and sellers in the area, and I need a high-quality agent to feature in next month's issue. Now, I've been reading some great things about you, and every time I ask about a great agent in the Chesterfield area, your name keeps popping up. So I'd really like to feature you in next week's issue. Would you like me to send you a sample copy of my real estate publication? Now, this sucker's 27 pages long. I'm going to tell you what, it's going to blow away anything that they're sending out to their clients. Okay, just so you guys know, in answer to the unspoken question here, no, I don't do this every single month. That's overkill. You know, but I will do maybe anywhere from 4 to 6 of these a year, and that allows me to interview 4 to 6 agents. But if I double up and maybe feature one in an article and then maybe spotlight another on another topic, I can actually do 12 or more agents a year, just putting out 4 to 6 of these for the entire year. Okay, but it looks great. It gets their attention. They look, wow, you know, how'd you make this look so good? Because they're not going to be able to duplicate it. You know, aren't you glad I'm interviewing you for this? So this is my door opener because it taps into their ego. They want to be featured. They like the fact that you're saying all these great things about them. You know, what's people's most favorite topics? Themselves. So all you're doing is asking them to talk about themselves. You're not coming in saying, hey, let's do loans together. Send me all your deals. It's a backdoor approach. It gets the door open. You guys put this to use, and I assure you it will open a whole lot of doors. But once I've opened up those doors, now how do I drive this forward and make myself look good, okay, and make them go, wow, I think that maybe I'm doing myself a disservice by not working with this guy because he really has access to some cool tools and knows what the heck he's doing. So now my tie-in and wow, here's what I'm going to list. I'm going to use the heat map software to impress and make an offer to implement the same heat map tracking and videos for their websites. I will share the results weekly. So at the end of each week, I can send them over an actual printed heat map, guys. So guess what? That's my built-in excuse to follow up with them every single freaking week. And it's not a, hey, calling in to check in. No, instead, they're looking forward to go, hey, you know what? Here's your reports for this week. And, oh, by the way, I have 63 videos that we recorded of people that went to your website. Go check this out. And I can actually give them a login where they can go and check out these really cool videos of what people are doing on their website. So let's go take a look at basically what we do. So here's what I do. As I come over here to the heat maps, give me just a second here, guys. You got to log back in. That's why. Just a moment. Almost logged in. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. It logged me out. Okay, so I'm going to go to my project dashboard, and I'm going to go to my heat maps. And this is, I'm going to print these out. So the opportunity here is to say, look, guys, it doesn't matter how much traffic you have to your website if the traffic isn't converting. What if you could double or triple the amount of leads or the amount of homes you sell and buyers you bring in for your existing listings just by doing more with what you already have, okay? Because our websites aren't perfect. So what this heat map is going to allow me to do is to actually stop guessing and instead go and see what people are actually doing on my website. It makes a video of every single visitor. So I can come in, it's time and date stamped. I have their IP address, and then all I have to do is click this little play button up here. And see that? That's not me doing that. That's a video. See, my cursor's down here. it's showing, hey, here's what people are, so somebody's trying to click on that, they think that's a clickable button. So that tells me, maybe I should put something on there that does make it clickable. But I can watch every single person and see how long do they spend on each page, what sections are grabbing their attention, you know, what are they doing, what are they clicking on, are they placing orders, you know, what are they doing? So it's not just a big conglomeration of stats and statistics. I can actually see this. So imagine a realtor allowing you to place this on their property listings searches so they can see what are people actually searching for and how long are they lingering over certain properties. Maybe they're going to notice patterns and things that can be improved upon. But on top of that, so you can see here, I have over 700 videos now. So I'll go through and I'll view everyone that's over a minute long because that tells me, hey, those are the people that were really interested. So I'm going to go and view those videos. But then I'm going to go through and I'm going to generate the heat maps themselves. And I can actually do an eye tracking survey for them. And boom, click right here. And this analyzes over 7,700 points of data. And there we go. And it's going to start showing me and there's a proper way to read a heat map, guys. So if this isn't making sense to you right now, don't worry about it. I can explain what all this means, and this is very valuable data. But in addition to that, I can do a scrolling heat map and then a clicks-based heat map. So these are what I'm going to send to the agent and go, oh, by the way, check it out. Did you know, for example, I just learned this myself. See these little almost hidden numbers over on the left? That's telling me the percentage of individuals that scroll to certain levels. So I can come down here and say, wow, only 41% of the people actually scroll down to this level. So maybe if I have really important stuff way down here at the bottom where only, like right here, 29% of the people actually scroll down to, I'm going to take some of that information and put it up here where between 90 and 100% of the people are seeing it. So they're probably working with a website and only getting a portion of the benefit out of it that they could be. And it's the same thing with my click-based heat map that I just generated. It's going to go through and it's going to take all the people that have been to the website in the past week, where they started clicking, and it's going to show me where all this activity is taking place. Okay, so what are the people clicking on? You know, what links, what buttons, what sections of the website, and so forth. So this is the wow moment when you can generate these types of things and show it off to them and say, now you're going to have videos to analyze, click tracking, eye tracking, scroll tracking. And with just a couple weeks of tracking this stuff, you can actually come back with a plan to make everything better. So instead of dropping a whole bunch of money, Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate Agent, on new marketing and new leads, what if you could start pulling 30, 40, 50% more out of the traffic you already have without spending a dime, just making tweaks based on real-world data, right? So Bruce, Chad, how do we show this to realtors when we don't have the videos of visitors yet? You install it on your website first and show it to them as a demo, Bruce. That's what I recommend anyhow. That's what I do. Just like I'm doing here right now, showing you guys on my own website, this is how it works. So you show it to them and go, wow, that's cool. I wish I had that, right? So Chad, can you place heat maps on property websites or even single property websites? Just so long as they allow you to insert the code, the answer to that is yes. In fact, let me show you how insanely easy it is to install it on or at least how I installed it on my own website. Here's what I did. Watch this. It takes like 15 seconds. I go here, I grab my code, I go to my website, click on Settings, click on Insert Headers and Footers if you're using a WordPress-based website, which I am, and I paste the code here and click Save, and I'm done. That's all it takes. Like literally 10 to 15 seconds. Copy code, paste it on a certain page, click Save, boom. Now you come back here, and you'll notice within the next 5 minutes, any visitors, it'll start making the video recordings. Okay, and you could tell the system, hey, I only want to record people that go to certain pages or who stay on the website a minimum of this amount of time or that amount of time and so forth. Okay, so you can go and customize and tweak all that. But do you see the value now of having bait? So now I come back through, and I'm going to get really specific. So I'm not just going to say, hey, I'm going to use this heat map software. Instead, I'm going to go step 1. I'm going to call them and then offer to show them something. Or maybe I'm going to email them a copy of one of my reports and say, hey, wouldn't you like to see this? Or, you know, and I'm just basically going to bust it out into all of the various steps so that there's no guesswork. Because if each day I read this, this is a really ambiguous statement in that using the heat map software to impress and make an offer to implement. Well, I can interpret that in so many different ways. You know, am I going to email them? Am I going to call them? Am I going to mail them something? Am I going to fax them something? Am I going to contact them on LinkedIn or on Active Rain or on Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com? What am I going to do? And when I contact them, what am I going to say? So I need to get that specific. There needs to be that much specificity here. So here's what I will say. If it's the phone, so I'm going to bust out different scripts based on different means of contacting and communicating. So if it's phone, I'm going to say one thing. If it's email, I'm going to say something else because I'm going to add an attachment. So obviously my script's going to be different and so forth. So you see how I start fleshing this out, how it starts just building on itself? Because previously I showed you guys the, our flow chart, right? We talked about the flow chart, and that showed just how specific you have to be with your marketing plan, or else it's just not going to be done. Okay, make sense? So then I keep building on my opportunity until I am completely satisfied, and here's the general rule of thumb. I need, by the time I'm done with section number 1 here of what the opportunity is, I need to feel comfortable that if I were to show this to somebody else other than myself, that it's detailed enough that they could take action on it and actually implement it the same way I would. If there's any doubt in my mind, then I know I wasn't detailed enough. See, the problem is we rely too much on what's up here in our heads, saying, well, I'll remember it. But here's the problem, is that's just simply not true. The human brain is the single most unreliable form of storage on the planet, right? Because everything is colored and influenced by how we feel that day, how busy and crazy we are, our values of what's important versus what's not important, what we remember, what we forget. Everything is colored by mood and what's happening at that time. So 9 months from now, I could be a completely different person when I'm looking at this and translate things completely differently. But how will I know what's working and what's not working if there's no continuity and consistency with how I've been implementing? If it keeps evolving and I don't record how it's evolved, then this is almost meaningless to me. Because at the end of the year, I can't say, well, what resulted in success and what was a waste of time and needed to be tweaked. At that point, I'm just relying on my memory. So very, very specific. So once I have that all planned out up here, how I will reach this target. So now just a detailed description. Here's how I'm going to reach them. Now that I know what I'm going to say and what tools I'm going to use and all that good stuff, how will I reach them? Well, okay, I'm going to run Facebook ads. Well, I'm not just going to run Facebook ads. I'm going to spend $5 a day, and I'm going to turn them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or I'm going to post and contact agents that are posting on Craigslist. Or I'm going to go to Trulia and use the Contact Us box, and I'm going to contact 10 agents per day, 3 days per week, 3, 6, 12 days per month. Okay, that's how I'm going to reach them, okay? Or I'm going to YouTube them. So specifics there. How much is it going to cost me? Okay, well, if I'm spending, even if I'm using free forms of advertising, there's obviously tools that I have to purchase or make use of. Otherwise, you're just doing everything yourself, which is completely unacceptable. So what are the costs going to be? But not just that, what money have you put in reserve just in case you go over? How many times have we tried to estimate something and then we come out on the back end and go, wow, I spent, $500 more than I intended to. Okay, well, knowing that this is the real world, and in the real world things don't always go according to plan, we need to tell ourselves up front, here's the maximum amount I'm willing to spend. And we need to stick with our rules. Otherwise, what's the point of putting pen to paper if we're not going to stick with it? So what money do you plan to spend? What money have you set aside that you're willing to spend if things get more costly? Alternatively, what if things end up cheaper and you spend less? Where are you going to spend those excess dollars? So target profitability. This is pretty obvious. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be profitability. If your goal isn't income-based but is maybe time-based or whatnot, then just simply change this. So target hours in the office each week, et cetera, target efficiency, target outsourcing. But ultimately, I know the vast majority of folks have target profitability. So how many loans, what are the dollar amounts, and what is your take-home going to be averaged out over the year? Anticipated challenges. This is one of my favorites. Because this is where we have to get honest with ourselves. Where do we struggle? Maybe the anticipated challenge is our own selves, because maybe we get too distracted. Maybe we try to pinch pennies and never want to spend the money that it takes to reach our goals. Maybe we blow too much money. You know, what is the biggest challenge? Or maybe we allow ourselves to get distracted with phone, emails and responding to people, and whenever the second emails come in, or messages on Facebook. You know, time efficiency, productivity. What are your anticipated challenges? Follow up. This is the big one. When they say yes, how will you follow up, versus when they say no, how will you follow up? And a target audience avatar. So this one you need to fill out as if they are a real person sitting right in front of you. So my typical client, and when we do this, guys, our results go through the roof. This might sound dumb to you, but it's shocking just how much clarity this gives you to go through this one particular part of the exercise. My typical client is a 32-year-old male and is married with one child and has an average income of $67,000, and he tends to work an office job. Okay, now I'm going to give him a name. So I'm going to pretend he's a real person. So maybe his name's Matt. Okay, so Matt is on his second home and is looking to upgrade for more space as his family size is increasing. Now, see what this does, guys? It forces you to put a human face on your typical target. And as you start typing this out, what happens is you start to see things from different perspectives of, you know what, I didn't realize that, yeah, my typical client does tend to have a child, and because they have a child, that means when he's shopping for a home, you know what's probably very important to him is school district. And what that means is that instead of just putting blatant mortgage-related ads out there, I could take a backdoor approach and create a landing page that allows individuals to do a market snapshot of areas they're looking to buy a home in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Boom. So you start seeing things from different angles. And this is a very, very powerful exercise that's used by the top most profitable marketing firms in the world. We're talking billion-dollar marketing firms. This is what they force their marketing executives to do. It's not optional. They force them to do this with every client. Why? Because it works. We can argue against it and say, well, it's not a good use of my time, but bottom line is it works, and it works for a reason. Okay? Customer pain points, and then how you intend to solve them. Tools I'll need to deploy. So do you have an email autoresponder? Do you have a landing page creator? Do you have a means of generating heat maps? Do you have a website? Do you have, et cetera, means of automation, a CRM? Or skills I need to deploy. What do you already know how to do versus what do you not know how to do yet? And then finally, your reward for hitting your goals. So for this particular marketing campaign, this is how I'm going to reward myself. Are you going to go out there and buy yourself a new GT3 Porsche? I don't know. What is it? Maybe you want to spend a couple weeks in London or Paris. I don't know. What are your goals going to be? And then what are going to be the rewards for hitting those goals? And it needs to be something that is a strong enough motivator to where you will stick with it. Okay? All right. All right, so Colette, I like your choice. Colette says her goal, and funny thing is I test drove one of those just last month, an F-Type Jaguar V8S. You can't go wrong with that car, Colette, absolutely. Test drove it. The sound is absolutely incredible, feels perfect, handles on rails, but is enough fun to definitely keep you get going like a school kid. So like your taste. Okay, so this is the document. I'm going to make this available to you guys, and let me hear from you guys. How many of you guys are willing and committed to filling this out? How many of you guys view this as being worth your time to go through and actually fill this out? Let me get some yays and nays in there. How many of you guys? Let's hear you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got an absolutely. Got a couple booms. Got absolutely. Yes, yes. Okay. Luke says yes. Doug says yes. Anton says yes. Philip, Quinn, Kevin, Don, Marion, Paul, Jude, Eldon, all of you guys. Rudolph, yes. Jackie, yes. Okay, perfect. Okay. And Pat makes a good point. He says it's definitely worth it to me, but it is a bit overwhelming. And I like that you said that, Pat, because that's the human nature right there. Yes, it is overwhelming, but that's kind of the point, is that it forces us to do those things that we know none of your competition, or at least very little of your competition, is doing. Why? Because it overwhelms them, and they go, man, that looks like a lot of work. Well, you know what? Opportunity does come knocking at the door dressed as work, right? So the fact that you know it's a bit overwhelming says your competition's probably not even going to bother with it, and the fact that you are means you're going to blow them out of the water. Okay? John says a bit. It's very overwhelming. Well, it's not quite as overwhelming once you see it in front of your face walking you through it. Now, if I was telling you guys to remember to put all this stuff down, that'd be one thing, but you know what? I'll give you guys the download so that it just walks you right through it, okay? That'll make it easier for you. Awesome. Okay, so let's head back to our slides here, and let me get back to the one that we were at. Okay, I believe this is where we were at. Okay. All right, so let's look at a sample plan. Okay, perfect. So how much time daily are you going to essentially set aside for your marketing plan? Okay. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the Pomodoro technique of time blocking, but I'm a big proponent of it because it works. Pomodoro works like this, guys. It means that instead of just sitting down and trying to hash out and get a whole bunch of stuff done through your day, what they figured out is these guys, through all these brain scans and all these tests, this test was done over 15 years before they came to these conclusions. But what they found was that the average office worker could really only work for a certain period of time of focus before the quality of their work, their creativity, and their brain power would exponentially drop. It was too much requirement of the brain for extended periods of time. So the Pomodoro, what they found was that, hey, you know what? If we break it up into small but intense work periods and then give ourselves breaks, we're going to get a whole lot more done. And what they found was that individuals that would sit down and work very focused for between 20 and 30 minutes and then give themselves a 5-minute break to maybe hop on Facebook or Twitter or just do something that required no brain power at all, and then get back to work for another 20 to 30 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, and then the third time around they would take a much longer break. What they found was that they stayed fresh throughout the day for so much longer, and they got so much more work and were outproducing the other folks in the office who were just working straight through and not even taking the breaks, or just taking that one break a day plus lunch. Pomodoro. You can read all about it online for free. Just go to Google and type out Pomodoro technique. It'll tell you everything you need to know to implement it. But I firmly believe in Pomodoro. It works. And I tell myself that there are certain activities throughout the day that I'm not going to leave the office until I get this done or until I get that done, and so forth. And what happens is over time you turn what you originally struggled with into actual habits because you stuck with it. You stuck with it because you're implementing something that doesn't require as much focus throughout the day, since you're giving your brain little breaks and little things to focus on. Okay? So let me show you guys a document. I'll give you this download too. All right? Let's take a look. Give me just a moment. I'm going to pull up. Where did that go? Where did that go? Almost have it here, folks. Give me just a moment. Okay, what I'm pulling up here for you is a series of documents, and I kind of teased this last week, showing you guys, if I can just get to the darn things. And I'll make this downloadable if you guys just go to the blog. Okay, here it is. Got it. Perfect. Okay, it's a series of documents that you basically just fill out. And I know this seems like, again, just such elementary stuff, but you'd be surprised at what it does when you're forced to look at the commitment that you've made. So this was something that I used because I struggled with, as I mentioned, just insane levels of ADD. Very difficult for me to focus on something for any length of time because I'm very distracted. I'm the guy that has, no joke, over 40 to 50 tabs open in my browser at any given time. No joke, 40 to 50 tabs at any given time. People laugh about it. I used to lock up my computers back in the day when they weren't so powerful. That's just how I work, and it wasn't working. So this right here is where you make a promise to yourself, a commitment to yourself that in order to make this year my best ever, I'm committing to making the following happen every single day without fail, no excuses. So what's that one thing, that one extraordinary thing? Because really that's all it takes, guys, is every single day to make sure that you don't leave the office until at least one extraordinary thing takes place, because other people are satisfied with ordinary, and that's why they get ordinary income. But for the individuals that say, hey, you know what, all of my day can be ordinary except for this one thing or these two things, and I will not leave until I make them happen. What that means is over the course of a week or a month, that ordinary week or ordinary month turns extraordinary. And then the next week or month is better than the previous, and it just keeps growing. So I have a series of documents. Here's an I'm not ordinary document. Extraordinary actions are required for extraordinary growth and income. At least one extraordinary action is needed each day to keep the momentum. What extraordinary action did you take today? So this is the accountability version of the previous. So the first one is something that you hang up where you're going to see it every day and remind yourself, you know, hello, I promised to do this, but this is something that I filled out until it became habit. Until I turn it into a habit, I have to hold my feet to the fire, because we will make up every excuse in the world of why we didn't get something done. Well, you know, I had some fires to put out, and I had this closing blow up, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Still could have made something happen. Why did we not make it happen? So what extraordinary action did you take today? It's accountability, holding your feet to the fire. Fill this out, and if you end up at the end of the week or end of the month with a bunch of, you know, excuses and say, hey, you know what? 23 days out of the month, I had a reason why I didn't get it done, and only 7 days did I stick with it. What's that telling you, right? It's accountability, holding our feet to the fire. Now, it's not just accountability. I have other documents in here as well. We got the promise, I promise, the better week. We have your expectations document. Okay, in order to make this year my best ever, here is how I made improvements to my business last week and how I will experience additional growth this week. So we don't just plan our days, we plan our weeks. So at the end of the week, we say, hey, here's what I did right and did awesome, but here's how I'm going to make sure next week is better than the previous week. Okay? So you will find these. They're not currently available for download, but they will be following today's call. loanofficermarketinglab.com/blog. That's where you will find these documents, okay? Again, they're not there just yet. They will be following today's call, okay? So you will be getting an email from me. Make sure you open that email, okay? So bottom line, guys, is as we go through our marketing plan, there's a couple of other things that we need to do with that plan, okay? So give me just a moment here. So we talked about how much time each day we're going to spend. Just going back to the slides here. What's that one thing you're going to do? Fill out your I promise document. Hold your feet to the fire. But you also need to plan your likely outcomes. What happens when individuals do take action? What happens when they don't take action on my marketing? I need to have a plan for both so that I'm mining my database. The goal here, folks, is very simple. I want your business to operate like an assembly line. Not haphazard, not always playing catch up and not always being reactive. But by planning, it's more work up front, but it means that later on, come March, April, May, when everybody else is feeling just horrible, that, you know what, they abandoned their goals by February, and it looks like this year is just going to be a repeat of last year, you're going to be operating smoothly, more like an assembly line, because you took the time up front to ask these questions and provide legitimate answers to them. Hey, when somebody does take action on my offer, when a realtor takes me up on my offer, what do I do? When they don't take me up on my offer and they ignore my email, then what happens? Well, maybe another email goes out to them 4 days later. And then maybe I drop a cookie on them and retarget them on Facebook. You know, there's a million things that we can make happen to turn what would have been lost leads into quality leads. But we have to plan it up front so that it operates smoothly like an assembly line. We're going to flesh out our follow-up. This is where we turn into sales folks. right? We have multiple points of follow-up. We build out our assembly line of follow-up and touch points for me with realtors. I want to have an excuse to be in touch with them every single week. Remember, what was the whole point of the heat map software? Well, it's because not only does it wow them, but it gives me an excuse, a good excuse, not just a, hey, just touching base, because touching base means I've got nothing better to say. But when I say, hey, you know what, you're not going to believe this. This page and that page on your website got X amount of hits, and these people were spending an average of 13 minutes looking at this property and that property and this and that. You become an information source. They look forward to that data because it's valuable data, and it's something that they don't know how to do on their own. Or at least 99% of them don't. So it's that assembly line of follow-up and touch points. So by putting a little bit of thought into it, we can simplify it. So at this point, my assembly line is very simple. Follow up with reports. Here's how many clicks they got. Here's how many views they got. Here's how many videos we got for them to view. Give them their login. I'm going to email it to them, and I'm going to follow up with a phone call around 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday when I know they're planning for their open houses and what's going to take place over the weekend, and let them know what happened throughout the week. And, oh, by the way, I'm going to hit them up for some business at that time and go, oh, by the way, well, I got you on the phone. Do you have any transactions that you need me to take a look at or that you need pre-approvals for, or maybe they have some questions that need to be answered? So I get into the habit of making them feel indebted to me, because every time I talk to them, I'm giving them great information. And if they keep telling me, well, no, I don't have anything for you this week. Oh, next week, I still don't have anything for you. Oh, the week after that. You know what? They start to feel guilty. And either one of two things happens. Either I'm going to get a deal from them, or I'm going to say, hey, you know what? This person either doesn't have any transactions to share, or this just isn't going anywhere fast. So either I'm going to call them out on it, or I'm just going to cut them off so that I'm not wasting my time. So very simple. Make sense so far, everybody? Everybody with me? All right. See the value in approaching our marketing plan like this? So here's our competition at this stage. I need to start putting down in my marketing plan what my biggest competition is going to be. Now, competition doesn't have to be another loan officer or even another company. It might be, but it could just be a concept. You know, maybe the competition is that, you know what, they don't see the value in YouTube. Maybe the competition is that, oh, well, there's this company that they can subscribe to and it only costs them $100 a month to do what I'm offering them. I don't know. What are some options or some competitive outcomes or alternatives to what I'm providing them? Is it good competition, or is it competition that's not even worth worrying about? If it's something that requires them to spend money, it's probably not even competition worth worrying about, because a lot of those folks don't even like spending money, right? When they can have somebody here that's going to report back to them and accomplish what they would have to spend $100 a month to do, why wouldn't they say, yeah, this is a great service. Yeah, I want to work with you. So again, asking ourselves tough questions. Now, also on that marketing plan, guys, I want you to also put together you. Why you? Why, in this case, let's go back to my marketing plan. This is leg number one. Now, we'll talk about the other legs here in just a moment. But leg number one was the realtor strategy. Let me go back. Go back. Here we go, marketing leg. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to put together why I am the obvious choice, right? So my pitch as to why I'm the obvious choice needs to be something that just rolls off my tongue. And here's why. When somebody says, well, tell me this, Mr. Loan Officer, you know, I closed $48 million in homes last year, and I have practically every loan officer in the city lining up and throwing offers at me every single day to do business with me. They all want my business. And I've been using the same loan officer for the past 2.5 years, and he's always done a pretty darn good job for me. So why should I use you? Why should I abandon the loan officer I've been using for the past number of years and use you when I also have all these other loan officers I could choose from? What makes you special? What would you say to that? Because here's the thing. If we don't have a good, solid answer or pitch to these types of questions, then why should they feel comfortable giving us their business? Because imagine if a doctor couldn't give you an answer and say, well, you know what, I really have to think about that. If you said, Mr. Doctor, I see here that you prescribed me such and such. Can you tell me why you prescribed me this drug? And he says, well, you know, I really got to think about that. Let me get back with you. How comfortable would you feel popping that drug into your mouth? Right? So let's look at it from a real estate standpoint, or even just a regular old purchase client standpoint. If we don't have a ready answer, why not? Maybe we don't have the confidence that we should in our own ability. Maybe we just don't have confidence in our marketing, at which point that means we need to do this way, way more than we thought we did. Because it should be obvious what you bring to the table, and it can't just be, well, I'm going to do a good job for you, because that's the price of admission. Well, obviously, they're only going to work with somebody that does a good job for them, but what good isn't great. It's like, you may have a good daily driver car, but does that make it a Jaguar F-Type or a Ferrari 458 or a 911 GT3? Right? There's a difference between good and great, and you need to be the great option, not just the average option or the good option, but the great option to them, the obvious choice. So you need to come up with that and put pen to paper here on your plan, so that way you internalize it, so it becomes second nature to you. And it does wonders when you have that, boom, at the tip of your tongue that, you know what, anytime anybody asks me why they should do business with me, I have a beautiful answer because I put thought into it, and my competition never took the time to do it. It makes me feel good. And it makes you sound good too. Make sense? Awesome, awesome. So this is your why you pitch. Why should they use you? Whether it's a realtor, and you need to have an answer to a realtor, and you need to have an answer to a general purchase prospect, etc. You know, who are your target markets? What are the various legs of your marketing plan? And have an answer for each. Okay, so we already talked about this one, so I'm not going to spend much time on here, but I just want to repoint out. And so if you want to, if you're putting together your reward, that reward needs to be big, because what you're being asked to do here is, hey, this is a lot of work. This can be overwhelming. So if it's overwhelming, it's human nature to find every reason in the book to not do it. So you need to dream big. You need to have something on here that's motivating enough to where you say, yeah, it's worth it, not just to do it in January, but to stick with it for the entire year. Because otherwise, if it's not worth it to you, then why are we in this business? Then why are we trying to grow our income if we know that we're never going to find it, our goals big enough to stick with what it takes to be successful? So it must be big enough to motivate, but it has to be realistic enough to where you feel like it's just a couple months away. It's so near you can taste it. When you know something's just 2 or 3 months down the road, maybe it's a huge vacation. You want to spend a month in Paris. I don't know. What's that going to cost you? Oh, I don't know, $16,000 to $18,000. Okay, well, spending a month out there, how many loans does it take? How many loans do you have to close above and beyond your usual to have that extra $18,000 to spend on the trip? This GT3 right here, $173,000. Okay, how many loans? Let's break it down to the loans. What's your profit per loan? Okay, what's your take home? Okay, great. Now, multiply that by what number it's going to take to afford that $173,000 car, if that's your goal. See how that works? It doesn't have to be complicated, folks, but by looking at this picture every day, I'm going, wow, you know what? I can't wait to be behind the wheel of that vehicle. And so it could literally be just a couple of months away. All I have to do is hit this goal and that goal, to where I know that, hey, that monthly average income now justifies this extra expenditure. On top of that, I want you guys to internalize this, internalize this, internalize this, internalize this. The big rule of thumb, go to Google and double check my statistics here, folks. The general rule of thumb is that you should be growing organizations, whether it's an entrepreneur or a Fortune 500 company, the rules are still the same. 15 to 20% should be reinvested into marketing of the profit. if you want to be growing rapidly. Now, if you're okay with just slow growth, you can toggle that number down. But if you want rapid growth, 15 to 20% of profit needs to be reinvested into your marketing. Now, reinvested into marketing could be you're paying for traffic, it could be you're paying for services, it could be you're investing in learning marketing for yourself, could be automation tools, could be outsourcing. What is it? What are you investing in to allow you more capabilities, to free up more time, or to put you in front of more people? But if we're not investing 15 to 20%, then it's no wonder that we're growing slowly, because that's what it takes. That's what helps you to avoid those peaks and valleys of roller coaster income when you know that investment's going out every single month into, let's say, you're spending the money on traffic. Okay, when you know that you're getting in front of, let's say you're buying 600 visitors to your website each month, or 1,000 visitors to your website each month. When you know that's coming in, it minimizes those peaks and valleys, and you're always moving forward and growing instead of staying stagnant. Very, very important. So big rule of thumb. So let's take a closer analysis of the legs in my table, my marketing table here. So here's what I was doing, is breaking it down. I'm using the real estate magazine as the door opener to get them to talk to me. And again, about 90% of them will, because it's not threatening and it's stroking their ego. How do you say no when somebody just honored you by saying, you know what, you're good enough to where I want to feature you in my next month's publication? About the worst reaction you could possibly get to that is, well, you know what, I think I'm a little too busy at the moment, but maybe hit me up in your April issue or May issue, because the first half of my year is very busy. It's not that slamming the phone and hanging up on you that a lot of loan officers are used to because they're irritated with you. And it makes it such an easy phone call to make. So, yeah, you can get as many realtors as you want to open the door. Then next, using the heat map to show off, wow, and tie myself into them every week. And then my deployment to tie them into me from a marketing level is the video SEO strategy. Now, I know a lot of you guys used my video siphon method, okay? The video siphon method, where we use YouTube to get these property listings on the front page of Google, and we're helping the agents get more traffic, because the average agent's getting like 5 or 6 views of their videos, whereas we can easily get hundreds of views each month, and it's very easy to do. So I use that to just blow them out of the water and bring a huge amount of value to the table, but it gets them used to working with me from a marketing standpoint, because now I've double branded that video. Each video has me listed as the financing options with my little, low down payment loan options scrolling across the bottom of the video and whatnot. So it's kind of creating that image that we're a team. And it doesn't take long for them to start treating you like a member of the team. So I love that strategy. And I know a lot of you guys on here have told me how many agents you've been able to knock it out of the park with because of this strategy. So that's another leg of the table, because it helps me get in front of purchase leads, but also ties me in with the leads to an even deeper level. So heat map was phase 1. Video marketing SEO was phase 2. And it's something that can be learned very, very quickly. All right? And then finally, my website. That's the final leg of the table, where I utilize that website as an SEO piece to bring in leveraged traffic, but then I also deploy landing pages on it so that I can put PPC ads out there using Facebook, Google AdWords, or Yahoo Bing Ad Center to drive traffic to it. So I'm investing money in buying visitors to my website, but I'm also getting free visitors via my SEO. So that's the leveraged part and then the paid part. So I have lots of purchase and refi leads coming in on demand with this strategy down here. I have these strategies up here bringing in referrals, because it's opening the doors and then quickly, rapidly moving me through the sales cycle with these agents much more rapidly than if I try to do things organically. By having a assembly line approach to my marketing plan, I can accomplish in about 3 to 4 weeks what a lot of loan officers would take 4 or 5 months to accomplish as far as moving a relationship with a realtor forward. It can all be done in a matter of months. I can start off a month, and by the end of that month, I can actually have loans coming in from that realtor. And that's such a wonderful feeling, because then those referrals just keep coming in month after month after month after month. So it's leveraged. So do you guys see why I used this original plan way back when to get things moving forward? Do you see the value of having these 4 legs in a table? Now, you may have different goals and have different legs of your table, but I'm showing you a sample of what I used and what I deployed. And this is what allowed me to grow very rapidly. But I had to take that time to fill everything out right up front. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gotten done, right? Okay, so good question here, Chad, for the Realtor magazine. So let's pull that back up here, the real estate publication. So who prints the magazine? The beautiful thing about this is it can be print or not. But, yeah, I can print it out and have it printed out at a local print shop, or there's actually online websites you can go to and have these things printed out for like $1.50 to $2 a piece. They're not cheap to print out if you want something that really looks good like this. So oftentimes what I would do, since it's a Word document, is I would just upload it to turn it into a virtual magazine or like a PDF document. And I would just email it over to them and say, hey, you know what? I can insert this on my website, email it out to my entire database, and get all these home buyers and sellers reading my online magazine. But I would always print out and have a couple copies handy just to kind of show off a little bit, just because it made me look really legit, very, very professional. So it was worth the $3 an issue to print or to have printed when it made me look really good. Okay, so I'd always have a couple on hand to show off to them. But the bulk of them were delivered electronically, just to keep costs low and to avoid me having to go manually drive out and see everybody, because a lot of them aren't going to have that opportunity. Okay? So does that make sense? All right. So let me show you guys a couple of things here. Give me just a moment. Okay, so this was the web presence, right? So we talked about having a good website. This is a website/blog. Looking at here. So this is a website that you utilize and wield as a lead capture tool. So as I go over to some of the various pages, I see that you run into opt-in forms, lead capture forms, even on the footer area down here, so that no matter where they go, there's always going to be an opportunity to capture that lead, right? So built-in blogging platform, listing homes, so I can take that backdoor approach to capturing leads. It's all there, okay? So there's a whole lot of questions here, and I got some more stuff to show you guys here today. But just to, as we did the first go-round, let me just throw this out here for you guys that, yes, we do indeed have a special offer for you guys, okay? So let me go over that real quick, and then I'm going to get to your questions and then finish showing you guys some of the things here with these documents and downloads and other things that we have for you. So what I want to show you guys is we've put together, because I get asked this all the time, and just based on all the comments of, wow, this is overwhelming, you guys are going to love this. What we put together, something different from last week's special offer, okay? Put together a fast start joint deployment strategy that begins in the month of February. Basically what that means, guys, is I'm going to help you. You're going to work hand in hand with me in putting together a marketing plan and actually deploying it side by side, and you're going to get daily to-do lists. So you're going to log in. You're going to log into a task management software, and each day will be listed what you need to do for that day. There will be deadlines on each activity. So that way you have basically a roadmap. Just fill in the blanks. Check off each item off of the to-do list. And we'll be meeting multiple times throughout the month with just a small group. This is only for 25 loan officers. That's it. And here's why I limit to 25. Because this is a very intense program, and I want to make sure that when questions get asked, we have time to answer. If I threw this out there and said, okay, we're going to put 500 loan officers in here, it just doesn't work, right? Too many questions. Then nobody wins. So 25 loan officers for the month of February. I'm going to give you the heat map tracking software on top of that. Yes, that includes the video recording capability of the heat map tracking software. You can deploy it on all of your own websites, plus with your realtors. The lead capture software. Now, this is software I showed you guys last week that has a pop-up and exit pop-up function. You can deploy it on whether it's a HTML or a WordPress software. It allows you to create lead capture forms. Drag and drop beautiful, beautiful lead capture, pre-built lead capture forms. There's like 25 different designs. It's kick butt. But every website needs to have multiple lead capture forms. This one helps you create it with pre-built templates. Video player software that has lead capture elements built into the video itself. I did not show that to you today, but I will be showing it to you on session number 3 because that's also a big piece of the puzzle. But just know that it's cool and it's included. The Realtor magazine template, my exact magazine template I was just showing you with all the various pages and pre-written articles and images, I'm going to give it to you as part of this package so you can use it to open your own doors with local realtors. Okay? So you have all the software you need to knock it out of the park, plus you have the Realtor publication, plus the website I just showed you. Yeah, I'm going to give that to you as well. Okay? I'm going to show you how to upload it, create it, and SEO it so that you start getting on the front page of Google. It comes with the traditional website as well as blogging functionality. And yes, that's what we put a lot of time and effort into building out that website and getting it ready to rock and roll. It's outstanding. Very powerful website, can do anything in the world that you want it to do. But a website without traffic is kind of useless. So we're turnkey SEO. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but SEO has changed a lot in 2015. Let me tell you something really, really cool about Google that most people, and when I say most, I mean 99.9999% people are completely unaware of. One of the latest algorithmic changes at Google is that Google pays attention to how many people actually search for a keyword and then actually click on your website when scrolling through the search results of that keyword. So what we started doing was experimenting and said, okay, if I suddenly sent 100 people over to Google to do a search for St. Louis mortgage loans, and then they scroll through until they find my website and they click on my website, Google takes it as a signal that, hey, all these people think that the best website for St. Louis mortgage loans is this website because 150 people searched and clicked on it and then spent X amount of minutes on the website, which means that what we call retention. Okay? So now you could go out and you could pay 150 different people to go to your website each month and actually click on it and then spend a minimum of 7 minutes on the website or on specific pages, but you know how much time and money it's going to cost you. Well, we put together a package where for the month of February, we have 150 people. You can request up to 150 views of various pages of your website attached to certain keywords that you want to rank for. Now, you can apply this to websites or you can apply this to videos, and it will happen. It will happen within 48 hours of your request. So you say, well, I want this page on my website to show up when people do a search for St. Louis home loans. But this page when they do a search for St. Louis homes for sale, because it's the blog portion of my website that shows home listings for my realtors and so forth. And we'll make it happen, guys. It's all included as part of the package, no extra cost. And we've seen websites jump up from like page 8 or 9 of search results all the way to page 1 in a single month by getting enough of these searches. And no, you can't go and search for your own website because Google knows your IP, and if you're using an IP rotator, yes, they're familiar with most of those IP rotators too. So it needs to be very high-tech, okay, if you're trying to fool Google on that one. And then on top of that, guys, we're throwing in access to Loan Officer Marketing Lab for the month. So you're going to be working with me for the month of February to deploy these strategies, step-by-step, daily to-do lists, so there's no question as to what you need to be spending your time with. Heat map tracking software I showed you today, lead capture software that we showed you last week, video marketing software we're going to show you next week, editable realtor marketing magazine kit, complete mortgage website with a built-in blog, turnkey SEO, 150 searches and views and minimum to 7 minutes on your website, and access to our Loan Officer Marketing Lab. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what our Loan Officer Marketing Lab is, let me show it to you. Here it is. Boom. Okay. This is the Loan Officer Marketing Lab that you'll have access to. So you have all of these training modules on here, guys, that you can access. Okay? So we do live trainings every month from Loan Officer Marketing Lab, everything from Craigslist to SEO, YouTube marketing, building your plan, launching your website, tweaking your website, marketing to realtors. Really, really powerful website, one of the most comprehensive training vehicles out there for loan officers, and it's done as a membership, meaning you can log in whenever you want and access the content. Okay? So all of that. And guys, it's $259. $259 to participate. You get a full month with me and a group of just 24 other loan officers. So it's limited to 25 loan officers. But if you go to that link down there, you can reserve it for just $1. since it doesn't launch until February, all you got to do is put $1 down to hold your spot just by going to that link below, and you won't be charged the $259 until we actually begin in February. So just grab it for $1, and then going forward, if you want to keep your Loan Officer Marketing Lab subscription from there on out, it's just $99 a month. Or if you don't want to keep it, you can cancel it, and it won't charge you anything. No penalties, no commitments, anything, guys. But $259 for the fast start joint deployment. We call that our Marketing Accelerator. Let me give you guys the link in the chat box here, so that way you guys can take a look and just click on it, because I know that's kind of a long link there. Here we go. And just a reminder that, yes, that is a solid limit. That is a strict limit of 25 loan officers, because, again, I want to make sure that we have the time to properly help you get these things up and going, and nothing's going to be left to chance there. Okay? Okay, Paul, for those of you for those of you that took advantage of last week's, you can also switch that over to this week's offer. Last week we offered the $39 a month for those that just wanted access to the software and our mortgage marketing hacks. But for those of you that want to work with me and have the to-do lists, and I see some questions, what are we going to learn? What are you going to be teaching us? We're going to be doing things such as we're going to get your website. We're going to be showing you how to get your website properly structured so that you're actually generating business with it this year. Okay? That's one leg. We're going to be talking about and setting up realtor strategies. So I'm going to show you, how do you get realtors appointments? How do you kick in the door? How do you deploy and make use of this magazine template? How do you offer them video services and then deliver on those video services? You know, basically, how do you go from, hey, I really need business from realtors, to, wow, I have all the business I can handle coming in from realtors? Okay, so that's another leg. So we're going to go through, use the heat map strategy, show you how to deploy lead capture software, multiple legs. So everything that we can fit into the month of February, multiple legs, day-by-day strategies and to-do lists, nothing is left to chance, plus all the software, plus the template, plus the website, plus the SEO, and plus access to Loan Officer Marketing Lab. And yeah, that's an incredible deal, guys. Normally for something like this, yeah, that's about $400 to participate in these types of programs with us, our group programs for like what we call Fast Start, or what we call our Marketing Accelerator. But this is the page right here, so you can see the offer is good for another 21 hours, or it'll shut down. Oh, looks like we already had 7 people sign up, so I take that back, not 25. There's 18 slots left. But you can click the video here. That'll walk you through everything that's included and show you details, okay? And then I break it all down for you down here. Okay, so strictly limited to 25 participants. Once we hit 25, yes, we will be shutting it down. So 21 hours or 25 participants, whichever comes first, okay? So, so that's my special offer for today, folks. And I put the link in the chat box, so you can just click directly on that in your chat box in the top right, and that'll bring you straight to this page. It's loanofficermarketinglab.com/newdeals/faststart2015. Okay? Awesome, awesome. Okay. Paul, yeah, for those of you that wanted to sign up but signed up for last week's, just shoot an email to C. Weber. Yeah, just cweber@averagejoelo.com. Okay, David says, what if I do not have a website or I have a company website? That's not a problem. We'll be taking care of it. Okay, we'll be showing you how to get everything set up. Okay, so that your website will appear just like the one I was showing you just a moment ago. So you'll go from no website to having a website that looks like this. And that right there, guys, if you've ever tried to hire a company to build something custom for you, you know that you're going to spend anywhere from, on the low end, about $500, and on the high end up to $1,500 or $2,000. This one is finely tweaked and a kick-butt site with all sorts of functionality that's just going to blow your mind what this thing can do. Like, I'm just showing you like 1/100th of what it can do here just by showing you the home page and some of these basic pages. But yeah, we'll be working together to get all of this set up as you follow along and showing you your step-by-step. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you don't have a website now. Okay, so Rudolph says, Chad, I'm on the website, but I don't see where to sign up. You'll click that blue button right here. See where it says Get This Deal? That's where you'll click. Click that Get This Deal, and that's how you sign up. Is there a monthly fee to keep the website? No. Once that website's built out, it's yours forever, whether you keep our Loan Officer Marketing Lab account or not, because we're going to show you how to get that self-hosted. It's not something where, you feel like you're being held hostage where, you know what, I'm paying you for your service, but the moment I cancel your service, the website goes away. No, this is self-hosted. So it's yours forever as long as you want to keep it. Okay? So there's no cost from us. You don't pay us a thing to keep that website. Okay. All right, so I see some of you guys asking for my email. I'm going to put that in the chat box too. And don't worry, guys, I'll get to your questions here very soon. I'm just answering the questions regarding the special offer so that nobody gets left out. So it's cweber@averagejoelo.com. Mark, yes, this was indeed recorded. Yep. Paul, Chad, what is the cost after February per month? The cost after that is this Loan Officer Marketing Lab. If you want to participate in our Loan Officer Marketing Lab, then that's $99. Okay. And that's optional, but it'll show you that basically you're signed up, right? But it doesn't start the countdown, guys, until February. So I just want to be very, very clear. None of these programs begin until February. Here's why. February is going to be insanely intense for you guys because we're going to be getting things going the right way. So I want to make sure that you guys clear out your schedule. I want to make sure that you finish going through this free training here because we have one more session. I want to make sure that you go through all of that and you get some of that legwork done so that when the first session of the Marketing Accelerator deploys, I want you guys to be ready and prepared, okay? Make sense? So I don't want you guys to feel rushed like, hey, I bought this and it begins tomorrow. Holy crap. No, for it to be done right, let's clear our schedules. Let's get prepared. Let's finish building out our goals after so that when this thing rolls around, you guys are ready to just knock it out of the park. Okay? So it looks like, we had four more. So it looks like the first 11 of the 25 available spots are gone. Okay, awesome. So welcome to each of you. Shoot back over to my slides here. And yeah, it's just $1 today to reserve that spot. Stuart, yeah, it's not $249 plus $99. That $99 doesn't begin until the following month if you decide to keep the lab, or you can always cancel that part of the subscription. It's up to you. I recommend keeping it because if you guys are familiar with the lab, you know that we put out new content and the most up-to-date marketing strategies every single month. So we have some really cool stuff coming, but it's not a requirement. You can decide if you want to keep that or not. And it's not something that you're charged today. That doesn't happen until March, okay? Awesome. Okay, so I see some people asking about the documents from today. Yeah, I'm going to send out an email to you guys. Just head on over to loanofficermarketinglab.com/blog. Give it about, I'd say about 30, it could be 30, 45 minutes after the call, okay? And then you guys will have access. Awesome. So that's it for today, guys. I thank